Coming up on Cannabis Coast to Coast News this week, the historic devastation of the wildfires in California and in Los Angeles has hit the cannabis industry hard, but relief efforts are starting. Dina Nagib has our report from the Golden State. And the DEA just can't do anything right when it comes to the rescheduling process, and now there's a movement to take that responsibility away from the federal agency because of some backhanded agreements with prohibitionists. But at least a pro-cannabis media friend named Marianne McNabb will get a chance to testify if and when the DEA resumes their hearings. DoorDash isn't just available for food delivery in some states. You can use that service now to deliver your THC-infused beverages and CBD products. And did New Jersey get their cannabis legal market rollout right? There are now 47% of social equity applicants running legal cannabis dispensaries in that garden state. All that and state-by-state cannabis reports on Cannabis Coast to Coast News with Alaina Pinto. Next.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to another edition of Cannabis Coast to Coast News. I'm Alaina Pinto. Two reminders right off the top this week. First, the best way to keep up with the weekly news from the cannabis industry is to download our PCM TV app. You can scan the QR code on the screen and get it at the App Store or Google Play. Second, if you're interested in contributing to this all-volunteer news show, please contact PCM TV founder Jimmy Young at jimmy@procannabismedia.com. People who are already involved in the cannabis industry are urged to contact him. We value your insight on what's impacting your business. Jimmy is an award-winning, an Emmy award-winning talk show host and a college instructor for on-camera performance. He's a great teacher and will train you to join our team of correspondents who document the fight to end cannabis prohibition in our show every week. Now to news. First up this week is the California wildfires in LA and the Southern California coast. These fires continue to burn, and this week, those Santa Ana winds that reached hurricane force speeds spread and caused mass destruction of many neighborhoods and businesses in the greater Los Angeles area. And that includes many cannabis businesses. The death toll has reached 11 people, with the latest evacuations from the LA suburb called Brentwood. Now, many celebrities have lost their homes in that area, including Billy Crystal, Paris Hilton, Ricky Lake, Mandy Moore, and Jeff Bridges, just to name a few. But with more from that region, here's our California correspondent, Dina Nagib.
I'm Dina Nagib, Principal Consultant at Grass Goddess Consulting, reporting in California for Cannabis Coast to Coast News. Southern California cannabis businesses are grappling with the latest wildfires, which have burned over 35,000 acres and prompted widespread evacuations around the Los Angeles area. These fires are amplifying the industry's financial pressures with limited insurance coverage, smoke damage, and the need to evacuate products. Many delivery services are suspended, and some retailers are operating without clear emergency protocols. Cannabis companies face massive losses due to expensive insurance premiums and the risk of smoke infiltration into indoor grow sites. Additionally, the movement of cash and products raises security concerns. The industry remains deeply concerned about both immediate and long-term impacts of the fires, and the scope is still growing as the fires are ongoing. The story is still developing. On a positive note, many from the industry have rallied to support people impacted by the fires. Numerous companies have offered shelter, set up donation sites, and collected monetary donations, showing how the cannabis industry comes together for community. That's it for California. This is Dina Nagib for Cannabis Coast to Coast News.
President Biden and California Governor Gavin Newsom have declared a disaster in that state and are trying to get as much relief as possible to that area. If you want to help out with your time or any donation, you can contact the American Red Cross at 1-800-RED-CROSS or 1-800-733-2767. You can also text the word CA wildfires to 90999 to make any donation at all. Two of the biggest celebrities who live in California and are legends in the cannabis industry are, of course, Cheech Marin and Tommy Chong, who both live in the Palisades region. Tommy Chong shared his thoughts after being inundated by caring, inquiring fans. Cheech's house is still standing, though his entire neighborhood is gone. No telling how long before they can get back in to assess any damage. And as far as I know, my house is still standing too. But man, Cheech and I are among the lucky ones. So many of our friends and neighbors have lost everything, entire neighborhoods, places where we've shared countless memories over the years, just gone. The devastation out here is hard to describe. Our hearts are with everyone who's been affected and with the incredible firefighters and first responders who are working around the clock to protect our community. Once again, that number, if you want to donate to the relief effort, is 1-800-RED-CROSS. Next up, the Arizona report with Karen Black, where that state wants to crack down on access to edibles by kids.
I'm Karen Black from Greenfinger Consulting with the Arizona Cannabis Report for Cannabis Coast to Coast News. A troubling trend is emerging in the Grand Canyon state. A recent report revealed a significant increase in the number of kids needing medical attention due to accidental cannabis exposure. In Maricopa County, which encompasses the Phoenix metro area, the average number of calls to poison control centers for cannabis-related issues in children 12 and under have nearly doubled since adult use sales began in 2021. The main culprit? Edibles, which often resemble regular candies and snacks. The Arizona Dispensaries Association has been very active in the fight to keep our state's children safe from intoxicating cannabis products. Speaking of the Arizona Dispensaries Association, there are some fresh faces on their board for 2025. The new members, who will serve 2-year terms, bring a wealth of experience to the table. Michael O'Brien from Sonoran Roots will serve as president, while TruLeaf's Lauren Niehaus was appointed vice president. A complete list of the new board members can be found at azdispensaries.org. And speaking of TruLeaf, the vertically integrated MSO expanded its footprint with a new dispensary in Maricopa, the city, not the county. A ribbon-cutting ceremony and grand opening celebration took place January 11th at the new store. The addition brings another cannabis outlet to Pinal County and expands TruLeaf's Arizona presence to 22 locations. Also this past weekend, Tucson Doobie held another of its signature extravaganza events January 10th in the Old Pueblo. The affair combined cannabis, food, art, and education and featured a live glass-blowing demonstration. That's all for this week's Arizona Report. I'm Karen Black from Greenfinger Consulting reporting for Cannabis Coast to Coast News.
Delivery services in legal adult states is nothing new in the cannabis industry, but now a major delivery service that is not a licensed service is getting in on the action, and that's DoorDash, the popular app that delivers all sorts of things to your door. Now, operating in adult use legal states, they will deliver THC-infused beverages from hemp. A tab on the DoorDash app says CBD, THC. And there's an electronic ID function embedded that will supposedly keep underage people from utilizing that service. Many national liquor chains like Total Wine and more, Dashmart, and ABC Fine Wine and Spirits have already signed up for that service. It's doubtful that the service will be available in many states that already ban Delta-8 products, and that includes Virginia, where Joe Parsons tells us about a recent 4th Federal Court of Appeals decision in regards to those Delta-8 products. Joe.
I'm Joe Parsons with the Virginia Cannabis Connection, and this is the Virginia Cannabis Report on Cannabis Coast to Coast News. A federal court has ruled that Virginia's total THC hemp regulations supersede the 2018 Farm Bill. The U.S. Fourth Circuit Court of Appeals ruled on January 7th that Virginia's restrictions that went into effect in July of 2023 don't violate federal law. The Senate bill that became effective and stated that hemp products and industrial hemp products can contain no more than 0.03 in total THC. That factors in THCA and any other form of THC. Virginia's hot hemp market has been in limbo awaiting the outcome of this decision. These restrictions collide with the 2018 Farm Bill that defines hemp as having no more than 0.3 Delta 9 THC on a dry weight basis. The Farm Bill omits the total THC standard. It also only relates to hemp that has been tested in the field within 30 days of harvest, rather than in finished products. That pretty much destroys the entire hot hemp product industry that has been the only alternative for adult users who don't wish to lose their rights to bear arms and become a medical patient just to purchase cannabis legally. It also promotes pop-up events and legacy activity by not giving the responsible adults of the Commonwealth a safe and fair cannabis retail market. That industry that passed and went into law in 2021 has been stalled by Governor Glenn Youngkin since he took office. This decision by the Fourth Circuit Court of Appeals further keeps control in the hands of medical providers and less in the hands of adult consumers. Judge A. Marvin Quattlebaum Jr. wrote in his decision, "Under federal principles engineered into the Constitution, states retain the power to regulate matters of health and safety." The court ruling made clear that the 2018 Farm Bill says nothing about the state's ability to regulate the sale of hemp products within their borders. So in short, the ruling keeps the current bans active, affecting $1 million industry and the only current legal alternative for recreational use in the Commonwealth. Many companies, including Virginia-based operator Nova Hemp, have had over 95% of their products banned due to this law. Until the foundation is laid for an actual retail adult use market in Virginia, there will be a large demand for these products, and the legacy market will continue to thrive. I'll be watching this one closely for updates, as I'm sure this is not the end to this story. Well, that's going to do it from the Virginia Cannabis Connection and reporting from Cannabis Coast to Coast News. I'm Joe Parsons. Until next time, stay lifted.
New York State hit the 1 billion mark in sales this past year, but that state continues to have issues with product tracking and illegal operations. Pam Schmiel from The Other Magazine and the Mary Jane podcast has this week's Empire State Cannabis Report.
This is Coast to Coast Cannabis News. I'm Pam Schmiel reporting from New York. The New York cannabis industry hit nearly $1 billion in revenue last year and $64 million in tax revenue in a state of 20 million people. New York regulators promise there will be over 600 dispensaries open by the end of this year. And to put that in perspective, Michigan, a state of 10 million people, has 1,000 dispensaries and generated $3 billion last year. And additionally, you may see consumption lounges finally starting to pop up around New York State since they've been approved to sell in non-infused beverages, food, and allow live music and entertainment. And Nabis, California's largest distributor, has finally entered the New York market, promising to address the pressing issue of unpaid invoices that is plaguing the industry. And not that anyone is complaining, but New York has yet to implement a track and trace system, even though its recreational market has been open for over 2 years. This gap leaves regulators with incomplete data on inventory and market activity. That's this week's Cannabis Coast to Coast News. I'm Pam Schmiel reporting from New York.
I'm Marianne from Alibi with the Oregon Cannabis Report for Cannabis Coast to Coast News. This past week, a lawsuit was filed against a dispensary. A man had purchased a syrup and took approximately 40 milligrams of THC and was hospitalized. A serving size in Oregon is no more than 10 milligrams. Per Oregon Live, the dispensary manager is quoted as asking if a bar gets sued for a customer being drunk. This highlights a disconnect between alcohol and cannabis regulations. An adult can purchase enough liquor to cause serious long-term health problems, including death, and yet cannabis, while not being nearly as harmful, has much more stringent regulations. And next, on a happy note, the cannabis industry in Oregon will come together this Friday, January 17th, to celebrate the new year. The Blaze Ball will be a celebration of the heights we can reach together. Several hundred respondents are signed up, and we're excited to celebrate with everyone in the industry. That's the Oregon Cannabis Report. I'm Marianne with Alibi for Cannabis Coast to Coast News.
That'll do it for the first section or A block of this week's Cannabis Coast to Coast news show. But when we come back, we'll share a story about the DEA that is coming under more pressure in their ongoing process to move cannabis off Schedule 1 and why some prohibitionist groups were given preferential treatment during the last hearing. That and the other state-by-state reports coming up next on Cannabis Coast to Coast News. We'll be right back.
Ready to take your craft to the next level? Imagine faster extractions, purer products, and more profits. Sounds good, right? At Pure 5 Extraction, we've revolutionized cannabis extraction with our game-changing technology. No solvents, no heat, just the cleanest, most natural process on the market. Whether you're a boutique grower or a large-scale operation, Pure 5 has the tools to elevate your business worldwide. Visit pure5extraction.com today. Pure 5 Extraction, because your plants deserve the best.